In South Florida, change often starts with ordinary people who see a problem and refuse to look away.
Anybody can come and anybody can experience whatever we're doing here.
A former hotel, now the place of hope for the homeless.
Because out there, without them, I'm nowhere.
Safe spaces for LGBTQ+ teens searching for belonging. Communities rallying around children battling deadly diseases. These are not just programs, they are lifelines.
To see them having fun and just being like real children for a little while, it means so much.
They are second chances. They are proof that compassion can create real change. On this special edition of NewsVision, we share stories of resilience, of community, and of impact.
Homelessness, food insecurity, mental health and identity struggles, childhood illnesses. These are some of the most pressing issues facing South Florida today.
Across our communities, nonprofits are stepping in, finding shelter for the homeless, supporting vulnerable children and teens, and giving people a chance to survive and thrive.
Tonight, we take you inside some organizations making a difference, one life at a time. I'm Vivian Amoya.
And I'm Lazaro Chavez, and this is Impact South Florida.
The housing crisis is one of the most urgent problems for tens of thousands of South Florida residents, many with nowhere left to turn.
But as Brian Matute shows us, one former hotel is offering something rare, not just shelter, but a second chance.
Not long ago, Miami resident Raymond Paul was homeless.
I became addicted to narcotics and I was doing crime to support my habit. I had no place to go. No place to go but back on the street, back to the same old crowd, doing the same old stuff. And I said, no, I need some help.
For people like Raymond, second chances can be hard to come by. But Raymond got his big break with the opening of Hideaway Bay. He's one of about 130 residents at the former Cutler Bay La Quinta Hotel, which was converted into permanent affordable housing for seniors 55 and older when the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust bought it.
Man, I was on my knees praying to God for 2 years for a place to stay. Here go these people, just leave the drugs alone. We get you a place to stay.
Being able to see someone go from living on the street, on a sidewalk, to actually coming into having their own apartment is the best thing ever.
Many people associate homelessness with substance abuse or mental illness, but people can lose their homes for many reasons, such as job loss, medical emergency, or high real estate prices.
Now it's basically affecting everyone. You know, and a lot of us are a paycheck or two away from being homeless ourselves.
The Florida Coalition to End Homelessness estimates there are more than 28,000 people living on the streets in the Sunshine State on any given day. And a law that came into effect on January 1st, 2025, bans people from sleeping and camping in public in Florida, which has forced communities to tackle homelessness in new ways, paving the way for resources like Hideaway Bay.
Locals of Cutler Bay and Miami as a whole questioned Hideaway Bay at first. Was it worth it? What was its purpose? What was it going to be? And the answer to that, simply put, was a place people could call home.
And Hideaway Bay offers residents a lot more than just a roof above their heads. Here they have access to creative outlets like painting, music, fitness, along with a variety of support services.
They help you with any psychological issue you have. They have connection to get you there and transportation, so you can't use that excuse.
For everyone at Hideaway Bay, the mission is about growth, change, and hope.
At 67, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And these are my teachers. These are my professors. I don't want to go nowhere. Because out there, without them, I'm nowhere. In here, I got an army, so I'm strong.
Making major life changes isn't easy, but sometimes all it takes is a chance and a community to stand with you.
It's like family. It's almost like family.
For UMTV, Brian Matute.
And Brian joins us now to tell us more about Hideaway Bay.
Now, Brian, with thousands of homeless on waiting lists, what are projects like Project Hideaway Bay doing to be able to alleviate the homeless crisis?
Yeah, homelessness is a crisis, obviously, and officials are saying that it could be a blueprint going forward on how Miami-Dade can handle the homeless crisis, especially with housing prices continuing to go up. And with more people on the edge of losing their homes, the demand for solutions like this is only growing. To fight this, Hideaway Bay has converted over 100 hotel rooms into fully furnished studio apartments, and through the Homeless Trust coordinated entry system, rent is just 30% of their income.
Thanks, Brian. And homelessness is also an issue for some LGBTQ plus young people whose coming out can sometimes lead to family rejection and nowhere to turn.
Now, one local organization is providing not just support, but a lifeline. Melanie Lowe is here with more. Melanie?
Guys, for many LGBTQ plus teens, home isn't always a safe place. And when that support system breaks down, some are left on the streets, trying to survive on their own. Now, here in Miami, one nonprofit is trying to change that by providing food, shelter, and a community for young people who need it most. For many LGBTQ plus young people in Miami, finding a safe space to call home isn't always guaranteed.
I was escaping homelessness from my mother, and then I moved here with my dad, and we had a domestic violence issue in May, and ever since then, I've just been jumping around from shelter to shelter.
And 19-year-old Sanaya is not alone. According to statistics, about 2/3 of LGBTQ plus teenagers face family rejection, and many of them are forced to leave their homes and struggle with finding shelter, food, and health care.
You come out, you say, I am this. And what you're saying to somebody is just, see me, I am this person. And they get rejected for that. And a lot of times people will get kicked out of their homes. And so what is a 16-year-old person going to do if they lose their family support?
When Sanaya walked into Pride Lines for the first time this past May, she wasn't just looking for shelter, she was looking for safety.
I was actually homeless, and they offered service. We have a youth lounge here, so I would always just spend my days here at the youth lounge and just stay. They also give out free food to everybody who comes. So I would just stay, rest, and just catch up on sleep and everything.
The Miami-based LGBTQ Support Center serves as a crucial resource hub, offering mental health counseling, HIV prevention services, and emergency housing assistance.
We also provide grocery and pantry supports because so often housing insecurity is also very much associated with food insecurity. Now, there's a lot of intersectionality between housing insecurity and also risk factors for acquiring HIV. So, these are all really important issues to us and also really big issues impacting LGBTQ youth.
The organization started as a small support group for young people facing the HIV and AIDS crisis in the 1980s. And now it stands as a multi-generational hub, bringing together people of all ages and advocates to build a more inclusive future.
Pride Line's walls are filled with messages of hope, art, and identity, a reflection of the community and people that it serves. But beyond just emergency help, it's a safe space for LGBTQ plus youth to begin to rebuild their sense of self. Sanaya's story is similar to many others at Pride Lines, and she says that reaching out saved her life, and she wants others to know they're not alone.
Everyone is very understanding because we just all come from a place of love, so don't be scared to reach out to anyone, and they'll support you, they'll hear you, and they listen to you. They're willing to all the time.
Whether it's through a warm meal, a place to sleep, or just someone to listen, Pride Lines continues to be a lifeline for LGBTQ plus young people navigating some of life's hardest challenges. Pride Lines has served more than 10,000 young people since it opened its doors more than 40 years ago. It has 2 locations in Miami Beach and in Liberty City. The organization hosts its flagship program, Coffee and Conversations, every Wednesday, and has even expanded their programming to LGBTQ plus seniors. For more information, visit their website at www.pridelines.org. Melanie Lowe, UMTV.
Thank you, Melanie. And while finding safety and support for young LGBTQ plus people can be life-changing, for many students across South Florida, the challenge isn't just safety, it's access to programs, mentors, and opportunities that can shape their future. Delaney Haddad is here to tell us about one organization that combines different areas of learning for children who may not have the same opportunities elsewhere. Delaney?
For some families, after-school programs can cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars, making it difficult for many to participate. But one organization in Miami is redefining learning by offering free programs in STEM, sports, and mentorship, all designed to give students the tools to succeed both in and out of the classroom. In the heart of Coral Gables is a place where young students can find a home away from home. An organization built on community with the goal of strengthening youth academic, social, and developmental success.
What we do is we introduce the students to STEM through hands-on activities. And so it's really just about getting them excited about learning and getting them to know that their curiosity is a good thing.
The Home Team is an after-school program devoted to the development of young students with an emphasis on immersive learning. Since it opened in 2015, the nonprofit has helped more than 6,000 kids, and it all started with Miami native Alex Poe.
What we're really trying to do is occupy kids' free times and help them make informed decisions during that time. So it doesn't matter if it's our jiu-jitsu component, if our STEM component, homework help, cultural component. We want to provide an opportunity to connect with these kids and kind of open their eyes to new possibilities.
With a lot of organizations, especially as they get really large, they tend to lose that personal connection to the people they work with. But I don't see that at all on the Home Team. With Coach Poe, for example, when he walks through the halls, he knows the kids and he says hi to them and stuff like that. It goes back to connectedness that they have with everyone that I think really sets them unique to the rest.
Forming real, genuine relationships with the students, its volunteers, and the surrounding community is the foundational pillar that the Home Team stands on.
Meeting Alex really pushed me and got me into doors that I never would have thought I would have gotten into before, like working for a hedge fund. I would take the Home Team as one of the best experiences I've had in my life. If I could join that program again, I would recommend it to anyone.
The Home Team expands further than the programs it provides. It's a community, a family.
It's like having another child, and there's a huge connection that you end up creating with these children. So it's incredibly rewarding. Some of our kids been there for their graduation from high school and college. It's really neat to see the actual difference you're making.
Do you guys know Alex?
Yeah, he is my friend.
Or you know you're going to be part of their family, and they're going to be part of your family for the rest of your lives.
The Home Team has already served more than 6,000 students, many of which go on to college, have careers, and return to give back to the same community. Delaney Haddad, UMTV.
Thank you, Delaney. Programs like the Home Team are helping kids build a strong foundation for their future. But for some children, the challenge isn't what happens after school, it's what they're facing right now. Inside Miami's Holtz Children's Hospital, some community organizations are working to bring something just as important as education: hope. Here, amid the sound of machines and monitors, one can also hear something else: laughter, color, and music. For children battling serious illnesses, programs like Jar of Hearts are bringing art directly to their bedside, giving them a way to create, even in the hardest moments.
We focus on preserving their childhood and giving them some type of moment of expression.
What started with one teacher a decade ago has grown into a movement, turning hospital rooms into spaces of imagination. And just down the hall, another kind of healing is taking place. The Immigrant Choir Brazilian Voices brings live performances to patients, using music to lift spirits when they need it most.
Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
The music talks really deep in his heart. So once he's happy, I'm very happy.
Experts say music can reduce stress, ease pain, and help children cope with long hospital stays. Together, art and music are doing more than just passing the time. They're helping children hold on to something that illness can try to take away: their childhood.
As we just saw at Holtz Children's Hospital, art and music can help children heal, even in the midst of treatment. But for many families, the journey doesn't end when they leave the hospital. And one South Florida organization is helping children battling cancer find something they often lose along the way: their childhood. Addison Block joins me now with more. Addison?
For children going through cancer treatment, life can become about doctor's visits, hospital rooms, and isolation. But one local nonprofit has created a safe space where kids can do something simple yet powerful: just be kids again.
You got 2 oranges.
Oh yeah, he's good. 10-year-old Jake Duenas loves sloths, video games, and making everyone around him laugh. And like most kids his age, he's full of energy and curiosity. But what you can't see is what he's already survived.
Emotionally, you just having to deal with your child being diagnosed with cancer. It's very, it was very sudden, it was very quick, everything happened super fast.
At the time, the Duenas family was living in an RV while their Miami home was under renovation. a temporary home that suddenly had to become a safe place for a very sick kid. And that's when they met Sylvia Vanni, a mother who knew how Christina felt all too well. Sylvia and her husband Stephen lost their 4-year-old son Sal to neuroblastoma. But instead of succumbing to their grief, they created an organization to make sure no family or child fought pediatric cancer alone, and they called it the Mystic Force Foundation.
They came in one day and said, okay, we've got this and we're going to take care of it.
For Sylvia, helping family like the Dueñases is a promise made to her son, and a promise she keeps every single day. Her foundation created Heroes Hangout, a safe place where kids undergoing cancer treatment can do something they lose during that time. Enjoy just being a kid.
Because our children lose their childhoods upon a childhood cancer diagnosis. So being able to play and have fun and actually being with others that are just like them helps them get through the process.
According to the American Cancer Society, there are about 16,000 children in the United States under the age of 20 that are diagnosed with pediatric cancer every year. The treatment includes rigorous surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, and bone marrow transplant that destroys the patient's immune system and puts them in isolation for months. Even when they're not actively in treatment, these kids' immune systems are still extremely vulnerable.
As a parent, I know how it feels to see your child having fun and being able to be a child when they're going through such a difficult moment in life.
Today, Jake is NOD, which means no evidence of disease, no more cancer. And for Sylvia, seeing these children laugh, play, and smile through their hardest moments is the reason she continues this work.
This is my most proudest accomplishment in life, to see our children here, to see them having fun, and just being like real children for a little while. It means so much to me.
For these children, the fight against cancer is only half the battle. Finding joy again, finding normalcy, and finding their way back to their childhood. That's what makes all the difference. For UMTV, Addison Block.
Thank you, Addison. Organizations like the Mystic Force Foundation are providing families with support during some of life's most difficult moments.
But for others, tragedy comes without warning. In South Florida, drowning remains one of the leading causes of death for young children.
One family knows that pain all too well and is turning their loss into a mission to save lives. Sophia Mazza tells us more.
With summer right around the corner, South Florida families are gearing up to spend a lot of time near the water. We're surrounded by pools, lakes, and even canals, but that access comes with a heavy risk. I spent some time with one family who knows that heartbreak firsthand and are now on a mission to make sure no other parent has to experience it.
In South Florida, learning to swim isn't just a skill. It can be the difference between life and death. According to the Florida Department of Health, drowning is the leading cause of death for children under 4, and most of these drownings happen in home pools. For the Quintana family, this statistic is personal. It was June 9th, 2013, when their lives changed forever. While they were sitting by their pool, planning a 3rd birthday party for their youngest child, 2-year-old Kian.
And my mom kind of all of a sudden was like, oh, where's Kian? And then we're looking for him, and when we turn around, he's face down at the end of our pool.
He had taken the jacket off, and he had drowned right behind him, and no one even heard it.
Sadly, the Quintana family is not alone. Experts say drowning is often silent, no splashing, no screaming, and it takes just a few seconds without supervision. Just 30 days after losing their son, the family turned grief into action. They created Kian's Cause, a foundation dedicated to preventing the kind of tragedy that has struck them. Partnering with a local swim school, these lessons focus on providing young kids with the tools they need to survive in case of an incident.
So our main focus is to make sure that they can turn around, open their eyes, hold their breath, and swim back to the nearest wall or the steps.
But when should parents start? The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends swimming lessons begin at age 1. Additionally, to protect your family, experts say you should get CPR certified and learn the true warning signs of drowning. Look for a child with their head low in the water, eyes glassy or closed, or gasping for air. Over the years, the foundation has raised over $700,000, helping thousands of children and their families learn critical skills, ensuring Kian's legacy lives on.
He was just like larger than life. Like, he was so smart. He loved to dance. He was like a star. So it's just like, if this was going to happen, it was like, if anyone was going to be this, it was going to be Kian.
And it is that very spirit that continues to drive his sister today.
I hope I'm making him proud, and I hope he's like smiling down on us.
Experts say one of the most important things parents can do to prevent home drownings is designate a water watcher, someone whose only job is to watch the child. No phones and no distractions. If you want to apply for a swimming scholarship or learn more about this organization, you can visit kianscause.org. UMTV, Sophia Maza.
Thank you, Sophia. From preventing tragedy to protecting everyday well-being, the need for support in South Florida takes many forms. For some families, the challenge isn't water safety, it's putting food on the table.
With food prices rising and benefits uncertain, thousands across Miami-Dade are struggling to access fresh, healthy meals. Now, one local nonprofit is stepping in. Jimena Hidalgo is here with more. Jimena?
For many families in South Florida, putting food on the table isn't always guaranteed. And when fresh, healthy options are out of reach, the impact goes far beyond hunger. For almost 2 decades, one Miami organization is working to change that. One market and one family at a time.
Every Saturday morning, hundreds of families visit the Legion Park Farmers Market in the Little Haiti neighborhood in Miami to buy the products of local vendors. This farmers market is run by a nonprofit called the Urban Oasis Project, whose mission is to make fresh, homegrown food more accessible for everyone.
So I was starting a community garden in St. Louis, where I'd started a community center there when I was 21, and really saw the impact that a small community garden had on the neighborhood kids especially, and how food is common across all people, across all cultures. And so that was really where the inspiration came.
In 2008, founder Art Friedrich set out to tackle food insecurity in some of Miami's poorest neighborhoods. Food insecurity means not having consistent, reliable access to enough affordable and nutritious food. In Miami-Dade County, more than 240,000 people are considered food insecure, including 1 in 6 children. Across South Florida as a whole, that number rises to nearly 500,000 residents struggling to put fresh, healthy food on the table. Urban Oasis even accepts and doubles food stamp credits at the cash registers of their produce stand.
We've definitely experienced being looked down upon being SNAP recipients, and the program that they offer with the coins and the halving, it really allows us to take full advantage of the market without missing out or feeling like things aren't attainable for us.
At Urban Oasis farmers markets, SNAP recipients can swipe their EBT card and receive coins of the same value to then use like cash to buy fresh produce.
Urban Oasis supplies up to 4 farmers markets, but they also have a boots-on-the-ground approach to helping those in need. They deliver boxes of fresh produce to people's doorsteps, which can be ordered online and are priced at only half of their real monetary value.
And those deliveries aren't the only way Urban Oasis have put fresh food at people's doorsteps. They also plant gardens of fresh fruits and vegetables for low-income families.
So we bring out the soil, the plants, and the garden beds and build people gardens on a completely pay-what-you-can basis. A lot of times people that we're working with and building gardens for are people on fixed incomes, people that are more elderly. So that's one of the things we're hoping to help get people not just being able to have access to local foods at their farmers markets, but having access to local foods right in their own backyard.
Urban Oasis has planted over 400 gardens across South Florida.
My passion has always been to create the alternative institutions that we want to see, not just to protest against the things that we don't like, and be a part of a really ongoing, sustainable, kind of different kind of economy where health is valued, nutrition is valued.
Alongside the communities it serves, the Urban Oasis Project sets out to ensure that Miami's most underserved families have a place to turn for support, connection, and a healthy meal. For UMTV, I'm Jimena Hidalgo.
Thanks, Jimena. For many South Florida residents, access to food is not just about affordability, it's about health. The Poverello Food Pantry is serving people living with chronic illnesses, providing medically tailored groceries for those who need more than just a meal. The pantry opened in 1987 to serve people living with HIV and AIDS, and today it supports clients living with all chronic illnesses.
For many families, programs like Poverello are providing something essential, access to food and a path to a better health. But support in a community doesn't stop there.
For some, what they need most is a place to be heard, a place to heal, not through medicine, but through expression. Layla Pettis introduces us to one organization that is giving people that space and helping them find their voice. Layla?
For many people, finding your voice isn't easy, especially when you're dealing with trauma or feeling like you don't belong. But here in South Florida, one nonprofit has created a space where people can express themselves through music, poetry, and performance, and more importantly, feel seen. When it comes to finding your voice, sometimes all it takes is a little space to be heard. For Florida resident Angel McNally, that space has been an organization called the Art Prevails Project in Fort Lauderdale.
A couple of years ago, I see Art Prevails is having like an open mic, and it's literally a walk down from where I lived at the time. And so I just went down and I was like, I'm gonna sing a song. I'm not sure if I'm doing anything right.
Founded by poet, director, and educator Darius Daughtry in 2015, the Art Prevails Project gives a community, a stage, and a voice to those without a mic.
So we're very intentional that this is for everybody. Anybody can come and anybody can experience whatever we're doing here.
Each month, the organization hosts free art workshops in underserved communities.
The arts, I believe, is a human right, and it's a human right because it heals, it inspires, it transforms, it transcends, and if it benefits you in all those ways, everyone should have it. Like, that's like food.
My internal smile reached onto my lips, and my peaceful silence, our peaceful silence, turned into joyful noise.
Growing up, I definitely had a lot of issues trying to express myself. I think a lot of things would be anger or sadness or things that I generally don't talk about enough. So having an artistic outlet and then having essentially a community of artists was really helpful to me to actually feel connected to myself more.
From music to poetry to theater, people looking for a space to express themselves and be seen can find that at the Art Prevails Project.
I come from a lot of childhood trauma in a variety of complex ways. I write a lot from the perspective of like writing as a form of self-healing. I think coming into adulthood after many years of ignoring that experience, I felt very pushed to re-engage with old comfort.
3 years ago, Art Prevails Project created an annual reading festival called Our Voices.
I started that because what I saw in our local communities is very low literacy rates. And so my goal was to put books in the hands of people, but also to make the idea of literature and literacy cool.
For Angel and so many others, the Art Prevails Project isn't just about art. It's a voice, a home, and a family.
Realizing that each of our voices is like very unique and special, and so even though we may have doubts about it or we may question ourselves at times, it's important to still put our voice out there because it's genuinely about just sharing our experiences with one another and building from there.
Because even if all else fails, art prevails. The Art Prevails Project has served more than 1,500 students across South Florida. Their next Our Voices Festival of Words is happening April 25th at the Broward County Main Library in Fort Lauderdale, and you can reserve a spot on Eventbrite. Layla Pettis, UMTV.
Thank you, Layla. Tonight's stories may be different, but they are connected by one powerful idea. When people care, they act. And when they act, lives change.
Across South Florida, thousands of individuals are giving their time, their energy, and their hearts to build a stronger, more compassionate community. And maybe the greatest impact is the reminder that each of us has the power to make a difference.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition of NewsVision, Impact South Florida. Have a good night.